Well, the Illinois Fighting Illini Big Ten tournament basketball season is over. Not the whole season, but they will not be the Big Ten tournament champs. They will still hold on to the regular season Big Ten tournament champions. That will not be taken away. But Illinois got the first couple of days off from the Big Ten tournament, played on March 11th of 2022 in the Big Ten tournament on a Friday against the Indiana Hoosiers, who had a big major comeback against the Michigan Wolverines, being down by 17 and have a huge comeback victory. The Illinois Fighting Illini, after the emotional high of beating Iowa for the Big Ten regular season champs to hang up that banner, did not come to play a full basketball game versus Indiana. We are going to talk about that, my thoughts and feelings on the loss when they lose 65-63 against Indiana. Things are never good, especially when it's against Indiana. But Illinois is now done. They will have to sit and wait till Selection Sunday to see who they will be playing in the NCAA tournament, which region they'll be in, what seed they're going to be in. So we're going to discuss everything in that game and thoughts and feelings and worries and same stuff, different day with the Illinois Fighting Illini. This is the Coach Steve Show podcast. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button if you're watching it on YouTube. If you're listening to it in audio form, follow it, rate it, be a friend, tell a friend. If you do that stuff, it really helps push the video out there. It helps push the audio out there. Be greatly appreciated. This podcast is brought to you by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. As of right now, I believe the website is still bellyupsports.com, but it's going to be the Belly Up Media Network. So go check out all the blogs and podcasts there. I still believe it's bellyupsports.com. I will update that as soon as I get that. You football coaches out there listening, we're getting to spring ball. We're getting into summer. We're going to be starting our seasons here pretty soon. So, thinking about your linemen, especially, they take a lot of blows every inside run period. During their normal drills, they're hitting. It's the best position in football because they hit each other. But those helmets are going to get, destroyed. And also, that's a lot of blows that those guys are taking. So there's a way to protect those shells and reduce the repetitive blows those guys are taking each and every week. And it's Guardian Caps. If you go to guardiansports.com/guardian-caps, and you use the code 15 off, you'll save 50% off your order. This absorbs 20 to 33% of the impact, which is huge. And it's worn by over 5 NFL teams and 200 plus colleges like Alabama, Georgia, Oklahoma, Penn State, the big time colleges. So if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. I'm here to save you money. So guardiansports.com/guardian-caps and use the code 15 off to save 50% off your order. Just here to save you money. We're all about saving that money. So thank you, Guardian Caps, for sponsoring the podcast. Okay, so let's talk about the Illinois Fighting Illini. There's a lot of feelings. And this podcast is recorded hours after the game for 2 reasons. One, I don't like how the games are during the day because we're all working no matter what job we have. Unless you work from home now, which I'm jealous of, we work. So when the game's on at 10:30 in the morning, we work. We have to try to sneak it in on the computer when we can. Don't tell anybody that. And, all that stuff. We have to check ESPN on our phones and just kind of see and everything else. And sometimes you have a fortune enough to have time to watch the game. And I fortunately did. I had a little moment there to watch the game and kind of see what was going on. And so if I would have recorded a podcast right after, there would have been a lot of thoughts, but I had to stew on it a little bit. It was nice, not nice. I guess it was nice. You got to hear what Brad Underwood said and the players said and everything else. So the game, I said this after watching Indiana make the comeback against Michigan. I watched the game. I said, and I tweeted, Indiana, this is not a guaranteed win. Indiana, they showed the percentages and the statistics. Indiana is not a bad defensive team. They're not a bad defensive team. Now they have been kind of the last 4 out, and now they're kind of, especially after beating Illinois, they are the next 4 into the NCAA tournament because of this win. Coming in, it's changed every day. One day they're the last 4 out, and then they beat Michigan, and they were kind of the last 4 in. Well, now beating Illinois, the number 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Yeah, they're probably in the tournament. They showed the numbers how much better Indiana has gotten, and they're a good defensive team. And I said, Illinois is going to have to come to play. It's not going to be a pushover game. This is not going to be, a game where we're just going to come in and roll Indiana. Because now, again, I've said this. If you guys have listened to this podcast, I know I don't get a ton of listeners, but those of you that have, could you comment down in the comment section? How many times have I said on one of these Illinois post games that confidence is everything? Confidence is huge. And so when you get confident, you come back 17 down against Michigan and win. Well, now you're coming into this game, and one of 2 things are going to happen. You're going to be so tired, or you're going to have confidence to be able to do things. And they said coming in, Indiana rotated pretty good, so their guys weren't tired. The last time Illinois played Indiana, because people talked about this too, was weeks ago. I believe it back in February. Illinois won 74-57. Okay, so if you want to talk about that game, Illinois won 74-57. Trent Frazier had 23 points. So, and this was at Indiana, which is pretty impressive. Kofi had 17, Plummer had 14, Grandison 6, Williams 6, and Frazier had 23. Didn't be much scoring off the bench. Corbello did play. Indiana, we held Johnson in check. We held Jackson Davis in check. So just things were held in check, and that was a while back. Indiana was trying to find themselves. But you can't compare those type of games. Illinois was losing by 2 at the half, and we scored 40 in the second. They only scored 21, but this is different. You get confidence, this is what happens. Okay, so I said this coming in, and Indiana plays better defense than they did. Beginning of the game, we hit 2 threes. Plummer and Frazier hit 2 threes. I said, okay, here we go. Then, things started to come apart. Overall, I'm going to be all over the place in this game. Overall, let's look at Illinois. We're going to look at field goals. Field goals were 20 of 56 at 35%. Three-pointers were 8 of 22 for 36.4%. Free throws, we were 15 of 23 for 65.2%. I believe Illinois missed 14 shots to the basket, 12 were missed layups, and 2 were missed dunks. So we're not shooting the ball well, three-pointers or field goals, and we're not shooting free throws well, and we're missing layups. That's really what it came down to. Indiana, I give credit to defensively, besides the missed layups. Now, some of those missed bunnies were because Kofi was getting hit and just happened, you get hit enough, you're going to miss. But I watched that game, and Indiana did a very, very good job of keeping Illinois out of the lane to drive to the basket, because I've said this for a while. Illinois can't forget about that. Illinois is pretty good when they drive to the basket, because, I know we didn't show it today, but normally if you watch this team this season, we can make layups. When we drive in, when they get sucked in, we can kick out and shoot the 3. Now, we live and die by the 3. The games where we win, we're shooting 3s, but at the same time, we're doing everything else in the basketball world to win the game. We're not just shooting 3s. We're not just giving the ball to Kofi. We're dishing. We're cutting to the basket. We're giving good, bounce passes. We do those things. Then the games where we actually decide to live and die by the 3, we usually die. Or the games where, no offense to Kofi, Kofi, just going to be you today, buddy. Can't do that because he can get double teamed, he can get triple teamed, and when you get double and triple teamed underneath the basket where there's not a lot of room, and you got to worry about the 3-second violation and all that stuff, it is difficult when you're not the guy bringing the ball up. That's why having Io was so good, because you had to pick your poison, kind of like a Kobe and Shaq. Pick your poison. Okay, now look at the stats. Again, I told you I'm all over the place. Kofi was 8 of 13. 7 of 8 for free throws. He had 10 rebounds and 23 points and 2 blocked shots. He only turned the ball over once after getting double teamed and triple teamed and hit a lot. Kofi showed up to play. The only other person that kind of showed up to play was, I guess he did. I'm not going to say kind of. He did. Coleman Hawkins. He has started to come into his own. He was 5 of 10 of field goals, 4 of 7 from 3, 4 of 7 free throws. So it could have been better there, but he got you 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 18 points. He was Illinois' second leading scorer. Trent Frazier had one of those nights, had to play a lot of minutes, played 38 minutes, and had to play a lot of defense. He was 4 of 10, 2 of 6 from 3, 1-on-1 on free throws. He had 6 assists, which is pretty good, and he had they turned the ball over 3 times. There was the problem with him, but he had 11 points. Now, here's the thing with Illinois. So Kofi, when we talk about field goals, okay, Kofi and Coleman Hawkins were 13 of 23, if you want to say it that way. And then 4 of 7 from 3 because Kofi doesn't shoot threes. The rest of the team was just god-awful. God-awful. Plummer was 2 of 12 for 6 points. Williams didn't shoot the ball at all. Now, he got you 6 rebounds and 2 assists, but he did turn the ball over once. Frazier, we already said 4 of 10. Payne he virtually brings you nothing on offense. He missed the dunk, so he's 0 for 1. Melendez got in. He was 0 of 2. Curbelo played 28 minutes, which is a lot of minutes off the bench. He was 1 of 7 shooting, 3 of 7 from the free throw line. Only got you 5 points. Now he got you 10 rebounds, 4 assists. So points don't always tell the whole story. You do other things. But here's the thing with Illinois. Kofi had a game. He showed up. Now, we could say he showed up to play. I mean, I'll say he did. There was no energy, and I think he might have been one of the only ones in Coleman Hawkins. There was times we had bursts of energy, so I never want to sit here and say we didn't play with energy. There are moments where we did. We didn't go the whole game like Rutgers and everything where there was just no life. No, we were pumped up when we made threes. We were pumped up when we were winning. We were winning at halftime. We were pumped up at the beginning. And then at the end, it was going back and forth. Hawkins had the big 3. They were pumping up. Chester Frazier, excuse me, was coming off the bench and jumping up as a coach and do that stuff. So I don't want to sit here and say that we had no energy because you have to. You have to have some type of energy. Rutgers, we really didn't virtually, but you really are going to have some energy. That's just a part of the game. But you have to have it the whole game. Indiana, even when they were getting down, had energy the whole game. And with Illinois, Kofi can have a game, but somebody else has to have a game. And no offense to Coleman Hawkins. I love that he's coming into his own. I love how he's playing much, much better. And to have 18 points is huge. But here's the problem. When Kofi has 23 and Coleman Hawkins gets you 18, when you hear that, you should look at the stats and say, okay, if they're doing that, that tells me Plummer's going to have 10 to 15. That tells me that Frazier's going to have about 17 or 18. That tells me somebody off the bench is also scoring 10 if this is happening. Illinois cannot win when Kofi and Hawkins are your leading scorers. No offense to Coleman Hawkins, but you need someone else. Now, if Coleman Hawkins this year and going in later on is that person, great, good. But I'm talking about the season consistently. That's not how they win ball games. And Indiana tried to lose this game. They were up, then Illinois got up, and then Indiana was missing free throws. If we want to look at Indiana stats now, the Jackson Davis, he scored today. He got 21 points. Thompson had 10. Johnson had 13. And then off the bench, they had a person with 8 and 6. Their free throws were 10 to 13 later on down the stretch. They were 26 of 56 shooting, 3 of 10 from 3. Indiana did a really good job of saying, we're going to score in the paint. We're going to score mid-range. We don't really have to win on the threes. Jackson Davis got Kofi sometimes with the speed running to the other side of the basket because we didn't have help side defense quick enough. Now, did Indiana play a perfect game? No, but confidence is everything. When they make a mistake, it just doesn't bother them. They just, like, how you doing? Keep it moving type of thing. and they're motivated. They're playing the number one seed. They just came back and beat Michigan. They're playing the number one seed in Illinois in the Big Ten tournament. We're going to try to win. And this is a rivalry type of game. Indiana, Illinois, they don't like it. They respect, but they don't like each other, especially in basketball. Football, I don't know if it's much of a rivalry, but I know in basketball, they don't like each other. So Illinois, some of them look disinterested in playing. I don't know if the emotions of winning the regular Big Ten title took it out of them because it was the first time since 2004 and 5 season. The way they had to do it against Iowa, who has become their rival, it just didn't look. I don't know. Curbelo made one of the best passes we have ever seen in basketball, but he also will drive to the lane, just throw something up that's trash. He will turn the ball over. He'll try to dribble through things. So he was doing that again. Now, people are going to bash Curbelo, and it sounds like I am. I'm just telling you what happened and what I saw. We need Curbelo to win. If Curbelo would have played all season healthy, he would be fine. We've got to realize the way he's playing right now is probably what we would have seen in November and a little bit of December. So we're going through his November, December, part of January growing pain right now until he gets there. But what sucks is we're out of time. Like the NCAA tournament, like this was it. And then now we got the NCAA tournament. Now, most of us Illinois fans agree, and I've said somewhere, since we won the regular Big Ten season tournament, winning the Big Ten tournament, not a huge thing, but you expect to win a game, maybe get to the championship. We've all said that Purdue would probably win it. Now Indiana's hot, but Purdue is left in it. They have a great shot. Iowa now has a great shot, but Purdue probably has a really good shot. And we've all kind of said that Purdue would probably be that team. But to lose the way we lost, when you hear there's no energy, what we mean by that is like, oh, they're not doing the things they need to do to win. They seem disinterested. They're, not keeping guys out of the lane on defense. We're not boxing out. We're not doing these type of things. And that's kind of where that energy thing and putting their foot down somebody's throat comes into play. Rebounds. I mean, we got rebounded them 37-35, but they had more defensive rebounds. So, yeah, I mean, they had 4 steals. We had 5. We blocked the ball 5 times, which was good. We turned the ball over 8 times. They've turned it over 7. So largest lead for us was 5. Largest lead for them was 6. It was just shooting. Again, we got back into that, give it to Kofi and have him go to work. And we just stand there and don't do anything. We missed some mid-range shots. We just fall in love with that 3 too much. Brad Underwood talked about before the game, and they were talking about during the game, that against Indiana, since they are such a good defensive team, you have to push the ball. And the reason why you want to push the ball against a zone team, especially, but against a good defensive team, is it's called a scramble, like a scramble drill, where they're just running around. You don't want them to settle. Once they settle, they can play defense, and they did a very good job of keeping us out of the lane. They did a good job of pushing us, try to push us as far away to try to get away from Kofi. And I think they said, okay, if Kofi does kind of score and the rest don't, we're good. And that's what we got. This Illinois team is very frustrating because we've seen talent enough where we can make a Final Four run. People have also said we could win the whole thing. But when we also play like this, we're going to see an early first round exit. We are projected to be a 4 seed. It might go down. We could be a 5 seed, and we don't want the 5 seed because of the curse. And we all know the curse of 5 versus 12, and 12 seeds beating a 5 seed. And we don't want that. So overall, Indiana just came ready to play. And Illinois did not look interested from start to finish. There was moments where they seemed interested. Kofi seemed interested. Frazier, people are giving a hard time, especially on offense, and especially when he turned the ball over. He was trying to throw, I believe, to Coleman Hawkins. It kind of looked like they were trying to get it to Kofi, and then I think he could kind of feel the pressure from the other guy, so he wanted to give it back to Coleman Hawkins. Maybe he could have the 3 or anything else. But again, Indiana tried to hand it back to Illinois because we had that before Curbelo went coast to coast, went for the layup. Now, he had a clean look at it, but to dribble through that, somebody tried to reverse, is a tough shot. So the fact that people have said that should go in, I don't necessarily agree with. It's a tough, first of all, let's see you do it. Second of all, like that's a tough shot. So, I mean, yeah, ultimately you want those to go in, but ultimately it just came down to some of the defensive effort. Later on, because Indiana started to hit shots. It came down to turn the ball over at the wrong time. Not necessarily that we have a lot of turnovers. It's just, I talk about this in NBA stuff. When do they take these shots and everything else? So when the turnovers happen, then the missed layups just killed. And again, Kofi gets refed differently than everybody else. The times that he's getting hit a ton and he goes up and those don't go in, well, he's expecting that's going to be a foul. Like he's not waiting to get hit. He's getting hit and they don't call it. And it's inconsistent, which pisses me off. And then another thing with pisses me off with the refs is times that the Davis kid is plowing his elbow into Kofi like 5 times. Kofi has done that before and it's been an offensive foul. So I was sitting there like, shouldn't this be an offensive foul, Big Ten? You've called this all year on Kofi. Why can't you call it on that when it's against Kofi? Is it because he's big and strong? So Kofi gets ref weird, and I'm worried about that. And then somebody tournament of they need to have a special meeting and say, how do we ref Kofi because he's huge? How are we going to ref that? So those things too. But when you miss 12 layups and 2 dunks, that put like right there, 12 missed layups. You hit 7 of those, we win the game. You hit one of those dunks, we're tied playing in overtime. The free throws. 15 of 23, 65%. You know, as a coach, you want 100%, but when you shoot 23, you're expecting to make 20 to 21. So if we hit 20 of those, 21 of those, we get 5 or 6 points, we win the game. So there's things in this game that we should have done and should have won. But this team is very frustrating. They you know, they'll like the thing on the forehead and you dangle the Twinkie out in front, you run and try to chase it. That's what Illinois does. They all year they've been really, really good, and they've been this, and they dangle in front of us. Brian Underwood said they seem tired. And then if you think about last year, Illinois focused so much on trying to win the regular Big Ten tournament, which Michigan won, which they shouldn't have. We had a better win percentage of the Big Ten. And then when they put so much energy into winning the Big Ten tournament that we did, and then he said, looking back and going into the NCAA tournament, we just seemed very mentally exhausted. We're physically exhausted. So he said he's going to try to take advantage and say we're going to get days off before the NCAA tournament. They obviously wanted to win it, but you know they're going to rest and take advantage of that. So he's trying to be positive. Now I'm sure in the locker room there was other things said. This is where my conversation comes back to: should we have both of these? Where it's and this is not me saying one thing or the other. It was just a thought process. But then you hear something like this about, well, you come into this tournament, now we're tired. Now the tournament does good and bad things. Well, I don't even know if bad, but it gives good things. One thing it does good is Indiana's of the world. If there was even a thought that they weren't going to make the NCAA tournament, well, because of this tournament, the Big Ten tournament, now they are going to make it to the tournament, the NCAA tournament. But then, like Brett Underwood said, where you're tired, like it's just a tiring thing. And I know that's maybe an excuse. So it was just a thought. This is not me saying get rid of the Big Ten tournament because it's not going to happen. A part of it is, well, Illinois and Wisconsin are the Big Ten champs. But then I said this last year too, Illinois won the real one, but it was COVID and all this other stuff. So it was just me, you know, talking about Michigan and everything else. But when you talk about, well, now there's 2. So you're talking about regular season Big Ten tournament champ or regular Big Ten champ. And then there's also the Big Ten champion. So which one is it is my question. And I'm not saying get rid of it because I think the Big Ten tournament's fun. It's, you know, the conference things are good to watch. I just don't like how there's 2 of them. It needs to be one. You know, like they are, or unless you share, obviously. Like, but Wisconsin can sit there and say we were the Big Ten champ. Illinois can sit there and say we're the Big Ten champs. So let's say or Purdue wins it. So are they the Big Ten champs or those Big Ten tournament champs? And so I think that the overall of the 20 games you play in the regular season mean more than this. When it's done the right way without COVID, and you play the same amount of games and you look at the win percentage. So that was just my thing of, should we continue to have this conference tournament? Now, selfishly, yes, you like to watch, you like to see, you know, a team, even though if it's Indiana, get in because they're winning, because Illinois was in that situation before COVID. They were, you know, not winning that much, and then they started to get hot, and they were in the Big Ten tournament. Like, they started to get hot, and it allowed them to say, we're going to go to the NCAA tournament. Then COVID hit and all that stuff. So it gives teams like that a chance. But then the teams that, have won all year, they're getting tired, all this stuff. And so I'm not saying one needs to go with the other, but Brownwood said they're going to take advantage of the rest, which they need, how much they played last year and winning that last year and then doing this. So they need the rest. But this team scares me. It worries me when they just don't all at once turn it on. You can't have just one or two. They need the whole team to turn it on, put teams away, and figure out how to score differently than if Kofi Kent is doing it or, just shooting the three. Just everybody has to have consistent, being pumped up and all that stuff. I don't want to say they don't play with energy. You have to. You're a Division I athlete, but they do. They play with passion and everything. But that's probably what we were missing most. I think we had the energy. It was just the passion. Maybe we are mentally tired. We did miss Granderson tonight. Hopefully he comes back for the first game of the NCAA tournament. If not, hopefully we win the first game and he can come back for the second game. But his rebounding, his shooting, his, all that stuff we missed. I mean, Hawkins stepped up, but we missed him in the rotation. I think, when you're looking at it, we had like an 8-man rotation, 9-man rotation, but really only Corbello gave us something off the bench. Corbello is going to have to play under control going into the NCAA tournament. But yeah, this team is frustrating. From watching all year, people can watch a couple games and say they have Final Four talent. But when you watch all these games, like we all Illinois fans have, we don't know. Like, yeah, we do have it, but at the same time, we can lose the first round. And it's very frustrating. But congrats to Indiana. Hats off to them. I'm complaining about what Illinois, didn't do or did do, but Indiana, man, they brought it. So congratulations to them. They move on. Illinois is probably going to be a 4 or 5 seed in the NCAA tournament, but at least we're making it. And we're not going to get a 1 seed, which is crazy. We were in the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament, but then not there. So it's crazy. But Illinois is going to need this time off. Hopefully the NCAA tournament, they come back and Frazier and Kofi can look at these guys and say, we are not letting this happen again. And hopefully they can figure it out. Hopefully some time off helps them. But, that wraps up this Illini post-game show. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Go follow everything. If you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Find the podcast where you listen to your podcast. Follow it, rate it. Twitter @Coach_Steve72. Facebook page, the Coach Steve Show, Instagram, and all of that. So go check all that out. Check out all the affiliates in the description below. Be a friend, tell a friend, all that good stuff. Go check out the weekly episodes. If you've made it this far, please go check out right before this game, in honor of this game, I was able to talk to Coach Bart Miller. He is the offensive line coach at the University of Illinois. I put that out for the game, saying in honor of this is what we had, I got to talk to him. So go please check that out. It's great. Good conversation about the Illinois program, about 35 minutes of it. So go check all that stuff out. Please and thank you. Thank you so much. This has been another episode of the Coach Steve Show podcast. Stay tuned. We'll try to do something about the NCAA tournament, who's playing who, and all that good stuff. And then hopefully get a couple more Illinois post games as we go along. But thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve, another episode of Coach Steve Show podcast, and we are out of here.